Hey, welcome back to the channel. It's awesome that you're tuning in, because in this video we are going to take a close look at the Logitech G29. How is the Logitech G29? This is a product Logitech is selling for quite a long time now, and with this version, this is the new edition, or at least this is the version that we can use on the PlayStation 5. But what's kind of interesting, that this particular G29 is, let's say, compatible with PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. But is this thing still worth picking up? That is something we're going to be finding out. We're also going to be testing it with the newer generation of racing games. And is this thing still fun? So the Logitech G29 is an older model, and they keep, let's say, releasing it for new systems. Something you need to take into consideration, that it's highly possible that maybe older models are compatible with an update for the PlayStation 5. So if you have already like a Logitech wheel, you don't need to upgrade it or buy it again. And again, it's depending what kind of model, because the G25 and G20, let's say, I think it was G26, man, what the numbers. You know, sometimes we do have like some upgrades that we're going to be needing to do. So it comes with a typical power supply, and it's quite a beefy one. They absolutely upgraded it from the first generation of basic like racing wheels, the pedals, and over here we're having the racing wheel itself. So the technology Logitech utilized is the same like many different models, with minor improvements. And that is something you did see a lot when it comes to Logitech itself. And one of the things you can just see it is with the pedals. Man, sometimes if you have something that is great, you shouldn't change it out. And I think that is one of the things Logitech did. I love the pedals of the Logitech because they're quite heavy, have very nice aluminum or steel, let's say, pedals. It looks absolutely amazing. So in the package they also include a very nice piece of paper, almost toilet paper to be honest, but this explains how you need to assemble this to your desk. And that's what we're going to be doing today, not a play sheet whatsoever, because I just want to keep it basic. So this is actually what we're getting inside the kit, because there's nothing much actually to have. When it comes to assembly, everything is very easy to do, and that is one of the things I find very appealing when it comes to the Logitech kit itself. Throughout this series of Logitech, they did a lot of changes, also depending what kind of platform we're buying it for, because we do have the PlayStation and the Xbox PC versions. So we can just find with this PlayStation version, the middle button doesn't do anything. I can still remember some of the old school wheels had something like let's say a klaxon or a horn over here, but that's not implemented. Over here we're finding all of the buttons like the L2, the L3. Over here having all of the buttons like the options, share and the PlayStation. And having over here the D-pad for navigation through the menu, and of course all the, let's say, selection keys like cross, the square, the circle and the triangle. And even an extra button over here, or a switch if you're going to be like messing around with tweaking. Some of the simulator games even have an option for that. I don't want to sound like a fanboy, but when it comes to Logitech, they absolutely nailed it from day one. And then when it comes to, let's say, the shifters at the back, made beautiful, let's say, metal shifters. We do have like a little bit of a travel to it, so you don't accidentally like click on it. You can see that the click is a little bit further throughout, let's say, the movement, and the way how this actually plays is absolutely pleasant. Some brands even have the PlayStation 5 switch already enabled, but this G29, you can just see that it's actually a repackaging model. So they still have the indication of PlayStation 3 and only PlayStation 4, but it is compatible with the newer generation, or in other words, PlayStation 5. They still utilize the same kind of pedals, and I don't really mind that, simply because when you're looking at those, they're just great. So let's do a chit chat about the differences when it comes to the pedals. There are a lot of different configurations with different brands like Hori or Thrustmaster, but with Logitech, they did just a great job. So first of all, acceleration, the brake, but also the clutch. They all have their own springs, and they can be modified, and that's not from the manufacturers, of I understand, but a lot of, let's say, in the modding community, you can just tweak it and even maybe get some new pedals. You can all switch it out, and I think for modability, I think it's kind of cool. However, I will just leave it as it is, because for me the stock like pedals are just great. All the way up to the G25, I've been using it as is. But if you're looking underneath of the pedals, besides the weight of it is absolutely great, You do have a lot of grip. If you have like a smooth surface or you want to have like a carpet, both are compatible with this. So you don't have a lot of problems, and even having mounting holes if you have a playseat and you want to mount it on a device, or at least like in construction. Okay, so when it comes to like the mechanic of adding this to your desk or the racing configuration, I personally really love this, let's say, construction. You can just basically push in the buttons in and out, and what you're actually going to be doing is going to be assembling it like that. They also implement some razors, so if you need to get yourself this on a smaller desk like me, it's going to be easy peasy, lemon squeezy, and we can just remove it if we don't need them. Since day one, they have the same configuration when it comes to the cable management. Yep, and it also implements for everything else. So what you can actually do over here is adding the shifter, and the shifter is sold separately. Over here the input for the power supply, and then over here the one for the connector of the pedals. And I can still remember that the G25 has a similar, let's say, connection method. So when it comes to the body and the way how it connects it, no, they didn't change out anything in the last decade or so. So let's start off with some Gran Turismo 7. So to be honest, I am more of a Forza Motorsport fan at the moment, but getting into some Gran Turismo and a racing wheel is such a fun overall experience. You can adjust the force feedback in the game itself, make it more aggressive. I'm putting it on 7 out of 10 to give it a very nice overall feedback. I do love this, let's say, the tiny indication on the wheel showcasing the RPM. I'm actually playing on automatic now, so it doesn't really matter. The force feedback is very responsive. And you see it's actually just a plug and play situation when it comes to, let's say, the racing wheel. Still very strange that they didn't have a switch for PS5. You can just actually see with the firmware update, it seems to be that this racing wheel is compatible with PlayStation 5 with no problem whatsoever. The G29, it's still absolutely an amazing racing wheel. So when it comes for newer generation systems, but also when it comes to the games itself and simulators. Another fun game to try out is Dirt 5. I love those crazy rally games. And so I think one of the cool things with rally racing games is that now you can actually feel how aggressive the force feedback is. You can just feel every single detail in the road. And this is what the force feedback is all about. And I need to get used to this crazy as a game. I'm just putting it on, just say, balanced when it comes to like out of the box, plug it in. I wouldn't be surprised if you can even adjust the force feedback even more. Oh, that guy helped me out. Otherwise I was just spinning around. There we go. Whoa. Whoa. Oh. Oh. So one of the things I do love also beside the racing wheel and the crazy feedback, it's going to be the brake on this thing. It's great, man. It's absolutely, I love the spring they're using stock inside of the pedal. I think I need to start playing some, let's say, Carmageddon or so, because I keep like bashing into stuff. And that's just simply due, I just really suck at this game. But let's move on to Project Cars 3. This is a completely different game and also going to be implementing the shifter. The only thing I did notice that the RPM meter isn't that responsive or accurate when you're looking at some other games. The other games were like absolutely accurate, especially with Gran Turismo, where you can see when it's getting this 7000 RPM. Actually, when you need to be shifting, it doesn't show anything. So this indication part doesn't really work with every single game. That's a little bit of a disappointment. But beside that, the force feedback is very nice. You can just feel how the car actually moves over the asphalt. And this is absolutely great. You know what's kind of funny? If you're going to be switching very quickly between all of the games for testing the racing wheel, you need to get into the game, because this game plays so much different than Gran Turismo. That's absolutely a lot of fun. Another thing you can also do is getting the shifter of the Logitech, and with that option we do have like different shifting options with that, and it is compatible with a lot of games, but you need to buy that shifter separately. Moving to the Recfest, and this is a combination of rally and having the option for some little bit of a simulation going on. A lot of fun to play this game. I can use the shifter if I want to, that's kind of cool. It's in semi-automatic. Ah, there we go. Getting on the asphalt. Now we're feeling the force feedback. Quite aggressive. Oh yeah, let's bash sweet. Let's bash against everything over here. One of the coolest things of the Recfest game. But also this game is so much different to actually play. Oh crap! And this is the fun part about, like, say, the force feedback, when you're getting different like undergrounds, if you're having like asphalt or like just the sand you're driving through, the force feedback also responds to that. When I'm having some airtime, you can just feel the force feedback changing. Revisiting the Logitech G29 on the PlayStation 5 is absolutely a blast. Not really to the past, or maybe it is, because this is already an old racing wheel. But I love it, the way how it plays and how it feels. Particularly when you're looking at the wheel, the leather and everything. That is one of the things I really miss out with other brands like Hori or Trustmaster. The pedals are absolutely awesome, and I do wonder how many people will modify them. I know there are different springs and other cool things you can do with it. It is one huge modding community. But I already mentioned before, the way how they feel and how they play, I'm just a big fan of it, and I just love using them. Okay, so when you're looking at the games, Gran Turismo 7 was absolutely a blast because I had a lot of fun with it, but also when it comes to all the features, it works quite well in combination with the RPM meter. That worked very good on the Gran Turismo 7. Dirt 5 is a game that I really needed to get used to because it's so crazy and there's so much happening, but you can just feel the racing wheel coming to life when it comes to the force feedback with this particular game. Project Cars 3 was another cool game to play. Like, I find it a relaxing racing slash simulator, and it was just like fun to play. And with the shifters it works absolutely perfect. And then we're having, of course, Recfest. It was a very cool game to play. A semi-arcade rally game, something different, more like relaxing when you're looking at the dirt game, but it responds very well. Yeah, the only downside I can think of, it's absolutely cable nightmare where you're looking at all the cables and you're detaching them. It's going to be a little bit more difficult than, let's say, other devices I've checked out. Thank you all for watching. Consider subscribing and let me know in the comments what do you think of the G29.